Sometimes the hardest part of losing everything isn't starting over. It's believing you still have something worth fighting for. That's the burden Ben Hollis carried the day he stood with his 2 kids outside his late uncle's abandoned watermill. They had only 3 boxes of belongings, a battered car, and $47 in the bank. Everyone told Ben he was out of his mind. His brother mocked him for clinging to a worthless piece of land. His ex-wife called him reckless for dragging their kids to a place without electricity, cell service, or even reliable plumbing. Yet as his daughter Emma discovered a wooden puzzle box buried beneath the old millstone and his son Jake pointed out strange carvings etched into the beams, Ben began to suspect that his uncle's last words weren't just the ramblings of a dying man. The old man had whispered, "The mill remembers what the family has forgotten." And Ben couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, this collapsing 3-story structure held a legacy far greater than anyone realized. That night, as moonlight filtered through broken windows, Ben promised his children they would uncover whatever secrets the mill had been hiding for nearly a century. The next morning, golden sunlight spilled into the mill like fingers of memory reaching into forgotten corners. Ben watched dust dance in the air while his kids explored with wide-eyed curiosity. Only 6 months earlier, he had been Benjamin Hollis, a respected architect with a corner office and a comfortable life. Now, stripped of career and comfort, he was just Dad, clinging to one last chance to give his children more than survival, to give them purpose. As they explored the dilapidated structure, Emma spotted something odd beneath the massive millstone. With Jake's help, they pried it loose and unearthed a circular stone disc carved with mysterious symbols and an inscription that read, "True North points to what matters most." Before they could study it further, Ben's wealthy siblings, Mark and Claire, arrived, their luxury cars stark against the backdrop of his crumbling mill. They scoffed at his decision to live there, accusing him of endangering his children and insisting he sell the property. But when Ben held up the strange carved disc and said, "What if this place is more than just a broken building?" their condescension cracked into curiosity. Reluctantly, they gave him the summer, 3 months, to prove the mill was worth saving. Those 3 months quickly became a race against time. That very week, while exploring the upper beams of the mill, Jake discovered a hollow compartment holding a leather-bound journal written by their Uncle Theodore. By flashlight, Ben read through decades of entries and learned the truth. Their great-grandfather Samuel Hollis hadn't just been a miller. During World War II, he had turned this mill into a safe house for refugees and resistance fighters. The journal revealed maps, clues, and hints that Samuel had hidden valuables, war bonds, precious metals, artifacts, entrusted to him by those fleeing Europe. Some caches had been found, but many remained untouched. And at the heart of the puzzle lay one ultimate treasure concealed within the mill's foundation itself, protected by elaborate riddles carved into beams and stones. Ben realized the mill wasn't just a ruin. It was a vault of history, sacrifice, and family legacy. That night, as the kids' laughter echoed in the moonlit rafters, he swore to follow the trail Samuel had left behind. But outside forces were already circling. His siblings doubted him. His ex-wife Sarah threatened custody, and county inspectors were called, labeling the mill unsafe. The clock was ticking, 30 days to prove the place habitable or risk losing both his children and his heritage. The clues led the family on their first true treasure hunt. Following Theodore's journal and Samuel's coded map, They scoured the basement and unearthed a grain sack with another hidden compartment. Inside, they found a detailed survey map with dozens of X marks scattered across the property. Armed with a borrowed metal detector, Ben and the kids trekked into the woods and uncovered a cache of silver coins wrapped in oiled cloth, along with a brass key and a note from Samuel himself that read, "True wealth lies not in what we possess, but in what we preserve for the future." That discovery electrified Emma and Jake, but Sarah wasn't convinced. She stormed in, threatening to take the kids back to the suburbs until Ben showed her the coins and the key. For the first time, doubt flickered in her stern expression. Still, she gave him only a week, 7 days, to prove the mill wasn't just a fantasy. With time slipping away, Ben knew every clue mattered. And when Mrs. Chen, an elderly neighbor whose family Samuel had once helped, revealed that she remembered a secret compartment in the mill's grinding stones, the pieces began to fall into place. Guided by her memory and the brass key, they unlocked a wooden box sealed for 8 decades. Inside were jewels of staggering value and a letter from a Polish refugee named Anna Kowalski, entrusting her family's heirlooms to Samuel in hopes they'd one day be returned. The find was breathtaking: diamonds, sapphires, emeralds worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what mattered most was the story behind them. Samuel hadn't just hidden treasures, he had preserved legacies. Each item carried not just monetary value but human history, acts of trust placed in his hands during one of the darkest periods of the 20th century. Before they could catch their breath, they found more. Near the mill pond, they unearthed a waterproof box containing a gold signet ring belonging to a German officer who had defected. The letter that accompanied it revealed that he had entrusted Samuel with his family's most precious possession in exchange for safe passage to Canada. Every discovery deepened the mill's significance, transforming it from a broken relic into a living museum of courage and compassion. Even Ben's skeptical siblings, upon seeing the jewels and the ring, began to realize this was no fantasy. But with every revelation came new threats: lawyers, inspectors, and custody battles. Time was running out, and Ben knew they needed something more powerful than coins and jewelry. They needed undeniable proof that the mill wasn't just historically significant, it was the key to their future. That proof, as it turned out, lay buried deeper than any of them imagined. It was Jake who spotted the entrance to the underground tunnels beneath the mill, originally dug to channel water but later expanded by Samuel into a hidden labyrinth. With flashlights in hand, they discovered a chamber preserved like a time capsule. Shelves of documents, wartime records, and a leather portfolio containing a land patent dated 1875. To their shock, it granted not only the surface rights to the mill, but also the mineral rights to nearly 1,000 acres of surrounding land. Alongside it was a geological survey from 1943, revealing significant deposits of rare earth elements, minerals now essential for electronics and defense. The estimated value in the 1940s was several million. In today's market, it could be worth tens of millions, even $100 million. Then came the most shocking revelation: a contract Samuel had signed with a mining corporation in 1944. The deal required the company to begin extraction within 10 years or forfeit their rights and pay penalties equal to projected revenues. They had never mined the land. By law, they now owed the Hollis family an astronomical sum. In one moment, everything changed. The broken mill wasn't just a piece of history, it was a fortune, a legacy waiting to be claimed. The discovery couldn't have come at a more critical time. With Child Protective Services breathing down their necks, Sarah's custody lawyers circling, and county officials demanding improvements, Ben finally had the leverage to fight back. He showed the documents, the land rights, and the contract to his siblings, who were stunned into silence. Even Sarah, once determined to take the children away, saw the truth. Samuel's legacy wasn't a reckless fantasy. It was real, it was legal, and it was worth more than any suburban life could offer. The children, who had once been caught in the middle of adult disputes, had now become part of something bigger than themselves, explorers of their family's history, protectors of a hidden legacy, and witnesses to the strength of their father's determination. In less than a month, the abandoned mill had transformed from a crumbling liability into a treasure vault and a courtroom defense. For the first time in years, Ben felt hope. He wasn't just a broke father fighting for scraps of dignity. He was the heir to a forgotten fortune, a steward of history, and most importantly, a father who refused to let his children's future be decided by fear. As the sun set over the mountains, Ben stood with Emma and Jake outside the mill, the once broken water wheel glowing gold in the fading light. In his hands lay the portfolio of mineral rights, $100 million key to their future. Behind them, the mill's creaking beams seemed to hum with memory, as if Samuel himself was watching, proud that his family had finally uncovered what he had fought to protect. Emma squeezed her father's hand and whispered, "We did it, Dad. The mill remembered us." For the first time in months, Ben smiled without fear. The fight wasn't over. There would be legal battles, contractors, and skeptics. But the Hollis family finally had proof, not just of wealth, but of legacy. This was no longer the story of a man who had lost everything. It was the story of a father and his children who found strength, history, and fortune hidden in the bones of an old watermill. And if you've been listening this far, you know. This isn't just about treasure, it's about what really matters: family, courage, and never giving up. If you loved this story and want to hear more incredible tales like it, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment about your favorite part, and share this with someone who believes in second chances. Because sometimes, the stories we pass on are the real treasures worth keeping.